Well, without further ado, let's get started. Thank you so much. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I really appreciate you taking the time to come and join us today to have a training session, slightly different format to our normal webinars. We had a survey go out and listening to all of our clients. One of the things that people were requesting was to get some training on some of the new features that we've been able to launch in the last 3 months, and also some tips and tricks about how to leverage and get the most out of your EventDraw account. So I have the wonderful David Perry Foster here. He's going to be presenting today and showing us some of the new key pieces of functionality. And I've also got Jay on, special guest, just to talk about some of the pieces that we've been doing with 3D Immersive. So some of the things we're going to be covering today is spacing and layers, also favorites and setting up your rooms. The other one is annotations, which is a really key feature that some of our venues are using really well, but I know we could probably leverage better, and something that I think you'll find very helpful. We're also going to be sharing a new piece of functionality that's just been launched, which is sharing. So sharing with your clients, sharing with other team members, and also we might even touch on allowing your clients to make some changes and edit plans, which is something that's in beta version and pilot right now. So without further ado, we've got quite a few people come in, and I'm going to hand over to you, David.
Fantastic. Thank you, Mel. Okay, so what I'm going to do, just going to quickly share my screen here. Okay, so I'm just sharing my screen at the moment, as you can see on the plan here. So a couple of things that I'd just like to go over. Firstly, I just want to go over the favorites stencil. So we have quite a number of people who'd like to create their own shapes and even groups of shapes. For example, a stage setup or a bank of 10 chairs. And what you can do is you can save that to your favorites. So I just want to quickly show how to do that. So what we can do is very quickly, I'm just going to go to my favorites here, just going to drag out a banquet chair, and I'm just going to quickly go through and add those chairs to my floor plan. I'll just go and add this here. And what I can do is just quickly go to my inventory report, and I can see I've got 325 chairs sitting on that plan there. If I select just this side, you'll see that I've got 156. So by selecting that on your inventory report, you'll see how many items you have on the plan there. Okay, so again, that's just by clicking under the report heading here. Inventory gives you the whole lot, unless you select a certain amount of chairs there. So the 325 could be something that you want to set up quite regularly. In fact, we might even take that a little bit further. Let's just add a stage up here. And now we've got a stage with those chairs. So what I might do, I might just grab that whole lot. And what I can do now is just save that straight back to my favorites. And I just won't show that on there on the inventory, because when I drag it out, it will already be allocated to the inventory. And I can just show setup for 325 with stage and apply. So as you can see, I've now created this to my favorites here, and it's now sitting down there. So that means at any time I can just remove those and I can drag those out, and it's ready to go very, very quickly, like so. It doesn't have to be that large. You might also want to just, grab that bank of chairs, 60 chairs, and I want to drag those there as well. So 60 chairs and apply. And now what I've got down on my favorites here are 60 chairs. So those sort of things are very good time-saving features. I'm just going to now remove all those, like so. I just want to go back on just regarding spacing and copying of shapes as well. So I'm just going to drag out, again, I'm in my favorites here, a 1.8 meter round table or 6 foot round table, and I'm just going to place it on the plan. Now, currently, turn off my inventory report for the moment. I can go through now and just click the right copy button like so. And as you can see, I can copy those over. Now, you might say, well, what's the distance there? Because I'll I want to save it back to my favorites, the correct distance. So when any of my team are using that table, we know it's set for our venue. So what you can do is you can select this table, you come up to modify table, and I can type in here, it doesn't have to be centimeters, you can type in feet as well, or meters. As you put your mouse over, you can see the different options there. And I might say, I want to leave a 6-foot gap between the table edges on each of these. I'm just going to hit enter. Now what that means is, so I'm just going to get rid of those, and I'm going to drag that back there, and I'm going to call it round table 6 foot with space. So what that means from now on, when I do drag this out, it's always going to be that 6-foot distance, as you can see on the right-hand side, and I can comfortably go through and copy those tables. So as you can see, when I was copying those tables, I was going through and using these copy buttons like so. However, you can also use the feature that I used before, where you drag a table, I just put it to the side of the plan, hold down the shift key, and then just drag that out. And that will keep that 6-foot distance as well, because you've already set that as part of your favorites. Banquet chairs the same, yeah, and we can drag that out as well.
Can I ask a question? So if you have all of your tables in here and you've got it set up as a favorite, for example, those 60, if you bring them across and say, actually, I just want to take some, you can actually make changes to those favorites that you pull across, can't you?
Yeah, absolutely. So you can say, although I've got 60 chairs, I'm going to bring these out just like that. But you know what? I'm going to get rid of the first row. And then you can just use that first row there if it's a smaller room, or you just need to cut that down a little bit.
That's awesome. And then we can show the inventory report.
Yeah, absolutely. So we click on that. You would now see that we've got the banquet chairs, and I'll just make sure that these are all reporting. And now we've got 25 round tables and 48 banquet chairs.
Okay, great. So I hope I'm not the only one that's going to have questions during the session. Please feel free to put anything down in the chat, and I can moderate and answer any questions that you might have to make sure that this is as powerful as we can make it for you. Oh, I like that grouping for a stage too, Dave. That's a nice one to bring across into a favorite.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's a nice favorite that we've got there. And that's got the stage steps on the side there as well. So although you may, you can come through and use the extensive list of furniture that's built into the master shapes here, you can certainly come down here and I might go, yep, this cocktail table I use, but you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to drag it back to my favorites, and I can rename it to whatever one I want. You might not call it that in your venue. You might just call it a high bar table. And I want to keep that click to show on the inventory report. And then now that I've got it down here on my favorites, I can just go through and spread those out if I want to as well. Like so.
Okay, amazing. Now we do have quite a lot to cover today, so
Sure.
I think we're going to move on to annotations now. So we've got a few different ways that we can use annotations. Dave, do you want to just kick off?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, absolutely. So with annotations, I guess another word might be sort of text labeling as well. There's a couple of ways we can do this. So for example, let me just go back to my favorites, and I'm actually just going to bring out actually I've got it on a layer here. Go onto layers, and I'm just going to click this plants layer. Okay, so these are just movable pot plants that we've got in the venue here. Now, when you're sending this to a client, instead of going through and adding the label all the time to asking what is that, what you can do now, I'm just going to unlock that layer, and I'm just going to select all these pot plants. Another way to select the plants as well, just very quickly while we're there, if they're sitting on a layer, see this button here that's select layer shapes? You can select that, and everything on that layer is selected. So I don't have to individually go through and select all these plants. I can just go through and select that there. So while they're all selected, I can now go right click, show item label. And as you can see, all these plants now have this item label showing here. So that was just a right click, show item label. I'm going to turn it on. I'm now going to turn it, off and then back on again. And with that, you'll see the orange dot there. You can now grab that and you can move that to wherever you like. Okay. Now, you may find that for whatever reason for this particular event, you don't want to call it that. So what I can do, I can just quickly I'm just going to turn that off. And I'm just going to right click again, going to change shape name, and I'm just going to call it room plant. And we'll go apply. And now we can show that item label, and now it's called room plant. So that's just an option to save you individually adding labels all the way through. And you can do that all in one go. So I might want to do the both with these ones, and we'll call it room plant. And we'll go apply. And we just need to turn that on and then back off again. And now we've got room plant for those as well.
Amazing. So one of the other things that we had been asked is how to show the details for an event. So we've got some dynamic fields that we've built into the favorites. Do you want to just show us into basic shapes that you can then pull into your favorites? Do you want to just show us that, Dave?
Yeah, absolutely. So what you can do under basic shapes and building, if I just expand this stencil here, you'll see now that you do have a few varieties of dynamic annotation as well. So what I can do is I can just plan revise date. So if I bring that out and just zoom in there, that's now taking the time that when I save this plan, this is the time that it was saved. We've also got for our US clients as well, they can drag out which is the US version, and obviously the month comes first. So you've got the US and the other date option there. You've also got drawn by, so this is dynamic as well. So because my name is that in the system, it'll automatically populate that. If I were to save this plan and someone else was to open it and change it, their name would then appear there as well automatically. What we've also got is you can drag, say, a number of these items out in the one go as well. So you can do that way. And we've also got another one over here as well for the US date as such. Now, as you can see, this this name here, we've got it. If we go into our templates and we just go edit list, this is the name that it picks up when you save your plan to the cloud. So if I can change that name, obviously here, and I can put a date in there as well for the date of the event, and I can update that, and it just makes things a bit easier for that sort of reason. So that's the dynamic annotations that you can use in your system straight away.
Awesome. That's great. Thanks, Dave. So we had a question, what's the best way if we had tables that are 6 feet width? What happens when there's a column in the room? So how do we go around the column?
Sure.
What would be the best way to manage that?
Sure, no problem. What I'm going to do, once I'm on layers here, I'm just going to turn off these operable walls, which we can do in layers here as well. And let me just simulate a column. I'm just going to quickly draw one here, give it a quick fill. Okay, so there's our column. So look, I guess the quick answer is there's no magic way to move around that. The quickest way would be, let's say we've got our banquet chairs. You can just drag one out here, for example, and I'm just going to put that on a lock layer here for a minute. Okay, so I don't move it. So the way to do it is to select it. Now, if I do come through and do something like that, I guess the best way is you just go through and you can easily just delete those chairs around that column. So I can just quickly, and then I'll just come through here and I can just delete a number of those chairs around there. So we can get rid of a few of these behind there as well. So something like that would probably be the quickest way to do that.
And I think, Dave, with that, we might just quickly just show a round table by turning on a table boundary so we can see how close the table could be to the pillar, for example.
Yeah, absolutely. So if we were to do something similar over here, we can go into modify table. We can come down to our show shape boundary. And this is where you can see. So you can see that we can manually move these. So I might just grab all these here and I can just manually move those over just so you can see how far you want to put your shape boundary or your table close to that particular pillar there as well.
Perfect.
Okay, cool. We have another question. Can the info text for a drawing drawn by etc. be customized? For instance, can we add a phone number for our name with our name for the setup crew? So one of the things we actually, do you want to just show some text in layers, Dave? I think we set one up for a cleaner.
Yeah, absolutely. So yes, you can add whatever text you like. And I'm about to show you now, if it's text that's always on the plan, you can just save it as part of your template. So if we go to our layer manager, and although we've got one set up in layers here, you don't have to put them on layers, but it's just a lot easier for showing and hiding depending on the event. One layer over here, I've got cleaning. So I'm just going to tick that box. And as you can see near the fireplace here, I've got, please make sure this carpet is clean to every event. So I can just double click that and I can just rename that. So I've changed the text there, for example. And yes, you can. So this can be text that you permanently create. What you can do also, so let me just come down here. I'm just going to steal that text for the moment. And I'm just going to put phone. And I'm just going to put in a random number. Okay. So you can create your own here as well. So you might put phone, you can put in, if there's an email address as well that you want to add to all your things here as well. Okay. And that you can modify that in style. Let's go to their style button. And there's various options here that you can use for changing the font, the size, word wrap, if you want to word wrap or not, make it bold, etc., etc. So let's say that was very quickly our text that we wanted to do. Probably the best way while you're setting these up as well is just save it back to your favorites. So we don't need to show it on the report, and we'll just show title info. So then what happens when you when you open a floor plan, just go to your favorites and take out this title info like so. And you can obviously, you would set it up so it matches your font size for your particular event there.
Amazing. Thanks, Dave. That's great. Okay, so just to keep moving along, make sure we get everything covered. How do you add other images such as ambulance first aid signs onto the shapes?
Yeah, absolutely. So the good thing about EventDraw is if those images aren't available within the list here, you might also find, so if we go first aid, if they're not available from the list here, you can click this clip art, and the clip art will show you some ones that we've currently got in the clip art section. If they're not the ones that you want, you can also copy and paste or drag from a folder straight into EventDraw and use that as an image as well. So if you've got images saved somewhere, drag it straight in, any image that you like, and then you can resize that as well to whatever size you want to use.
Okay. I think one of the beautiful features on that, Dave, is adding the annotations as well for these new equipment items in the shapes.
Yeah, absolutely. So what you can do there is, let's say I've got first aid.
Yeah.
If I apply that, and now if I right click, I've got the show item label, and I can just bring it over there as well. And you can just adjust the size as you need it. So if you find that you don't have this here, it just means you've got to add the shape name. Okay, so if I went into there and deleted that, I just got to go back in, then add that, and then away you go. And
that
apply.
Makes sense. So you've got to have
and it's
to show it.
And it's
Correct,
such a great
yes.
feature just to add into your favorites. So from there, all these custom equipment, just drag it back to your favorites, save it in there with a label. Very fast, very easy to use.
Okay, so let's keep moving. There was one other question. So I think what we'd really like to do is show how to share a plan. But
yes.
Let's maybe do a little bit more work on the plan. There's a question around, is there a type of wizard or any other auto-generating feature that can quickly show how many tables with chairs can fit into a room? Now, I would actually use the autofill feature for that. Do you want to maybe just show, maybe put in the operating walls in there, David, and maybe in that central area, remove the post and put the chairs in? And just
Yeah,
use the auto
absolutely.
picture. Yeah.
Yeah, sure thing. So
And then
what you
maybe
can
we
do,
can share that plan.
yeah, absolutely. So what you can do is we've got tables here. We've got the banquet chairs here as well. So what I'll probably do here is just drag that out, do my chairs, and I can just quickly go in and just remove those items, say around those chairs. Then we can go over to this side, add a classroom, and I can spin that around a couple of times like so. And I might just add that classroom style sort of like that as well. From here, what we can do is let's share this plan now to a client. It's going to close my layer manager. So anything with your layers, anything that you don't want your client to change, obviously, position of projectors and things like that, just make sure they're locked. And then what we can do now is share plan. When you click the share plan button, you'll have an option there to share the plan. So I'm just going to say that that wasn't shared, and I'm just going to share that plan now, like so. Now what that allows me to do is open that plan. Okay, and if I open that up now, this is just simulating what the client would see.
So just to be clear, that creates a URL that you can then send to your client, and then you can both be online at the same time. So you can either have it locked so only you can make those changes, but your client can see those live changes, or you can allow your client the ability to be able to make changes. Now, just to let you know, the share plan is on everyone's account. However, the ability to edit your clients, to edit a plan, is actually still in beta version. If anyone would be like to be part of that pilot, please let us know and we can turn it on for you.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm just going to quickly number these for a moment. Okay. And what I can do now is if I go back to my share plan option here, I'm just going to quickly turn that back on again. Now, what happens now is because I've made that change, the client on their side, all they need to do is reload. And now they can see that I've changed the table numbers on this side, like so. So they can go through and print. They don't need a login. They don't need to set up any of that sort of stuff, just that link. And then they're a way to go to be able to look at the plan that you've created for them. And
so if you go to the edit plan, could you just show us that option, Dave?
Sure. So
one thing we did have a lot of questions about is, should we allow people to alter layers? So what we've done is we've locked pieces. There are certain pieces, like, for example, a client can't move the any of the poles or the projector points or the rigging or the PowerPoints. And so what we've done is we can lock layers within a share plan section. And so they can only touch pieces on certain layers. So you can see on the left-hand side, you've got a whole lot of layers that are locked, and the layers that are open are pieces that they can change.
Yeah, absolutely. And as you can see, once I switched that toggle button before, this now allows the user to go through and they can make changes to this. So for example, if they select all these tables here, they can go to modify table, and they might want to do 8 chairs. They might want to do a cabaret style, and so forth and so forth. So that's some of the things that they can change, like so. They can also obviously put colors in there and so forth, but they can also go through and delete some items here as well. So they can go through and delete those. So you can see that they do have that ability to do those sort of things. So it's up to you if you want to allow them to share that particular plan for those reasons.
Yeah. So
I think it's worth. So I think it's worth covering off that at any stage, should you want to remove that, you just go back to the floor plan that you're working on, and you can simply just turn off that slider, and that slider is instantaneous. So it won't allow them to modify the floor plan or make any changes moving forward.
So there was a question, is it in beta? So we actually took a whole lot of client collaboration to develop this feature, and a lot of clients said, oh, that would be really amazing. But when it actually comes down to a lot of the conversations we've had, is a client have said, look, I might want to share it with my AV company or people that understand my space. but I don't necessarily want to allow a client to be able to go in and make changes to an event. So it's just something that we're playing with, trying to make sure that, you know, obviously it's safe and it reduces your risk, and, you know, and it works. You basically allow clients to do everything that is applicable, but you don't want people going crazy and moving operating walls and that sort of thing when they don't really understand the space. So it is in beta at the moment. However, if you would like to be part of the pilot, we're happy to turn it on. It's just a button in the back end, and we're more than happy to turn that on for you so you can explore it with maybe your catering team or your AV team. Okay, I think that was great. Thanks so much for sharing that, David. Now,
Sure.
I'm just aware of the fact that we haven't got that much more time left. I want to hand over to Jay so he can just give us a brief run through of a new feature set that we've just launched, 3D Immersive.
Absolutely. Thank you, Mel. I'm just going to quickly share my screen. Let's just move that out of the way. So we've been getting a lot of inquiries regarding immersive 3D. So I just thought I'd share this a little bit further. You can see we've got a floor plan that's open. I've got a pretty standard layout there. I've got some tables and chairs. You can see I've got a stage at the front. If you have a look in the extras menu, there's a button here that's called 3D Matterport. So if I click on 3D Matterport, it'll open the floor plan that we've just created and show in what we call immersive 3D. Now, this floor plan is actually utilized using a 3D scan of your space. So you can send a link to the client can walk through the venue, they can see the placement of all the tables and chairs, that they can see the location of entry areas, exits, whatever they'd like to see on the floor plan. The beautiful side to this is that this is integrated with Matterport. So I'm sure many people on the call are very familiar with the name Matterport. So Matterport is the 3D scanning technology that allows you to scan your venue in 3K, I take that back, in 4K 3D. The beautiful feature with Matterport is if you look in the top right-hand corner, you can still utilize all the Matterport features. So we can go into a bird's eye view. We can do a walking tour. One of the popular views is Dollhouse, as you can see here. So we've fully integrated Matterport with EventDraw. If a client comes back or you create a floor plan, so let's just take this floor plan here. What we're going to do is we're actually just going to modify this floor plan a little bit. I'm just going to drag out a U-shaped configuration, and actually let's just leave that there, and I'm going to do exactly the same. So now we've modified the floor plan. I'm just going to go back to 3D Matterport. It's going to display this floor plan with the changes in the Matterport scene, as you can see here. So here we've got the U-shape that's now set up at the front of the room there. And once again, same as live link, all you need to do is send someone the link to the Matterport scene. Now, they don't need any software. They don't need a Matterport account. They actually don't need an EventDraw account. You can simply view the Matterport scene as we can see here. Obviously, for those watching the demo, this is an incredibly powerful tool because there is no need for you to walk through the venue and try and sell the concept of the event, how it's going to look and feel. So this system does it for you as well. So now what we can do is that we can sit there and we can do the floor plan, as you can see here. And I'm allowed to then walk straight through the actual space, viewing it in immersive 3D. So this is available now in EventDraw. This can be used right now. Now, from our point of view, we understand that a lot of venues are already getting Matterport scanning done, which is fantastic news because all you have to do is send us those scans. The only prerequisite we ask for a Matterport scan is to not have furniture and equipment in a room, because EventDraw will overlay the 3D furniture and equipment in the space, as you can see here. So if you're having a Matterport scan done, just have the Matterport scanners come through, have no equipment in the room. No, generally they ask for, give us your best layout of the function space. You don't need to do that. Just get them to scan as an empty room and then away we go. We can then incorporate the 3D Matterport scene into EventDraw. The other side, probably the last side, is that some clients have asked for customized equipment, which we can model. And what we do is that generally we would just ask you to send a photo of the item, and we just ask for the length and width and a few details. Now, our modeling team can recreate that model. Now, all the equipment that we set up in EventDraw is standard equipment. Now, the equipment itself can also be changed. So if I like, I can unlock this and I can go through and make a change to tablecloths, chairs, whatever it may be. You're more than welcome to do that. For those that want to go a step further, as I said, and you'd like us to recreate your exact equipment as it looks in the venue, we can do that. And it is a service that we supply, and we'd obviously quote you for any individual items that you would like built or modeled. But from here, what you can do with the Matterport scene is you can actually embed these plans onto your website. You can embed it into your marketing material. You can just send it to the client. They can just click on the link, and they can actually see the exact event that they're going to be booking your venue, like the event that we can see here. You know, I've got some theatre styles. I've got my U-shape. I've got a dinner off to the right-hand side. This is a serious game changer. It's available now. So if you'd like to learn more on it, or if you'd like a one-on-one demonstration, we're more than happy to carry it out with you and the team.
Amazing. Thanks so much, Jay. That's great. Now, we've just hit 9 o'clock. I know a couple of people are probably going to leave to jump off to other meetings. There were two last questions, but they're both really quick ones. The first one is, are the favourites company-wide or set by each individual? Just to let you know, they're done by account. So the favourites are by account. We were told that that would be the best way for most organisations to work. And so that was the way that feature has been set up. So that was from Kernan. The second one was, can you do tables in a zigzag layout when you do autofill? So the autofill doesn't actually work in zigzag, but yes, we can do a zigzag layout of tables. Sorry, Dave, would you just mind just showing that? And that's the last question. I just want to make sure that we cover everyone's questions. Thank you.
Sure thing. So at the moment, if you wanted to do a zigzag, the best way is to create your tables like so. And then what you can do is just use your right down and right left, and that's how the best way to do it. Let me just give you a little bit more space over here. Okay, so I'll bring that out there. I can copy those across. And then I'll go through and just start doing it like so.
Yeah, amazing.
We are working on the autofill side of that as well. So yes, that will be coming.
Okay, great. So as always, please feel free to reach out to our team if you require training, if you have any questions on any of this functionality. We're more than happy to help, and we want to make sure that you're utilising your EventDraw account and that you're getting lots of value, and we're really helping you share great, beautiful floor plans with your clients. So thank you very much, David and Jay, for presenting today. Really appreciate it. And thank you all for joining us. We know your time is important and we're here to help. So have a wonderful day, and look forward to seeing you at our next webinar, where we will be showing some new functionality, including document templates.
And just one of the a fantastic new feature that's coming for the next webinar is folders as well.
Folders, so that's right. Yeah. So so that's the ability for you to be able to create folders and be able to save plans to certain folders. For example, if you have certain rooms, you can save those plans to certain room folders, for example. So that's something that we've had a couple of clients request. So we've listened. It's almost finished, and we will have it launched for you very soon. So look forward to seeing you at our next webinar.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks so much for joining us. Have a fabulous day or evening.
Thanks, everyone.
Cheers.
Bye-bye.